Men fall in love and bond when this happens. And this is the number one secret. So we're going to dive into this conversation today. Now, when I think of some of the experts out there that talk about love, somehow John Gray tends to pop into the conversation. And I know a lot of his conversation is centered around hormones and pheromones and testosterone and estrogen and all those sorts of things. And that certainly plays a part of it. And then if you listen to the work of Dr. Helen Fisher, she talks about lust, attraction, and attachment as being part of love. But I also believe people oftentimes enter into romantic circumstances based on unhealthy experiences that can find themselves in circumstances where they believe that they genuinely love this person. And yet when we get down to it, it's not necessarily healthy love. And when I think of love, this is purely my perception. I'm not here to say real love isn't about the good times. It's not about entertainment. It's not about romance. It's not about physical attraction. To me, real love is, can you be there for this person when the going gets rough? Can you be there for this person when they're going through a crisis? Can you be there for a person? And more importantly, can you demonstrate trust between one another? And when I think of trust, I think of it along this lines, and ask yourself if you feel the same way. Trust is, does this person have my best interest at heart? Or is this person's best interest my best interest? Or let me say this, if you're with a partner, your partner's best interest are your best interest. To me, that is love at its core. And when I think of the words, I love you, I think of it along this lines. I think of it as, I'm here. You matter. We are important. I've got your back. I'm not going anywhere, and I only want you. So let's unpack that for a second. I'm here. That means I'm present to this experience. I'm not thinking about a past relationship. I'm not thinking about the future. It means I'm present to what's happening in our lives right now. Now, I know many of you ladies who watch my channel, you hear this from men all the time. Can we just be in the moment? And to some degree, that's all we have, because the reality is tomorrow isn't guaranteed. Some accident could take us away from one another. So we only have this moment. But is this person present in the moment, or are they stuck in a past relationship? Do they have a contentious relationship with their ex? Or maybe they had a treasured relationship ending and they're still grieving the ending of that relationship. They're not present to this experience outside of, from an emotional standpoint. I don't mean a physical standpoint. So I'm here. You matter. We just talked about that. That's the basis of trust, is this person's feelings matter commensurate with my own. Sadly, many of us date and with kind of myopic eyes. We're only focused on our own needs. And while it's important to get your needs met, it's important to get your needs met. If you're going to enter into a physical relationship with someone, I think it's critically important to recognize that the other person's needs matters too. So I'm here, you matter, we are important. That's looking at the relationship as a separate entity. We have to look at, or at least this is an invitation for every one of you, is there's a you, there's a me, and then there's a we. A relationship is a separate entity. It's like two business partners starting a like maybe they're starting a law firm together, or maybe they're starting a accounting firm, or maybe they're starting a medical practice. Two business people that get together and say the practice is a separate entity. It has a separate name. It has, like an LLC and that sort of thing. Is treating the relationship as a separate entity means you value it. So when things go tough, you go, I'm going to work through these problems. I've got your back. We just talked about, like real love in my mind is, are you going to be there to wipe the vomit off my face if I'm going through chemotherapy? Do you have my back? Will you take me to a colonoscopy appointment? Will you take me to the doctors? We glorify love from all the entertainment and romance and the physical connection. But real love is, if you get down to it, is this person going to be here for me when I need them? I'm not going anywhere. That means I'm deeply rooted. You know what? If we're running into a problem, I am not going to run away. I'm going to lean in and say, how can we resolve this together? I'm not going anywhere. And lastly, I only want you. In a world where infidelity is so rampant in romantic relationships, it says, look, I only want to be physically romantic with you, but that doesn't mean, so I'm going to agree to monogamy, but that doesn't mean I've signed up for celibacy. So I think it's important to cultivate a healthy sexual relationship with your partner as part of the fundamental difference between friendship relationships versus romantic relationships. But we talked about lust briefly. We talked about attraction and also attachment. Sadly, most people attach to another human being in an insecure, unhealthy way, or they've had imprinting from their childhood that causes them to choose people that are similar to one or both of their parents. And we oftentimes believe that is love when it's actually insecure attachment. If you're not familiar with the work of Amir Levine and Rachel Heller, I highly recommend reading the book Attached. If you're not familiar with the work of Harvell Hendricks and Helen Hunt, I recommend reading this book called Getting to Love You Want. This is about understanding our oftentimes our core wound of choosing people that are like one or both of our parents. This is known as the imago. So I invite you to start understanding love from a different vantage point. So this title is Men Fall in Love and Bond When This Happens. And this is the number one secret. And I'm going to go back to a TV show that was on Netflix. I've watched it 5 times and I'll probably watch it again, binge watch it this weekend, because there's something about it that I love. And the show is called Nobody Wants This. Nobody Wants This. And it's the story of a Jewish rabbi that meets a shiksa and they fall in love. Well, why am I bringing up this story? Because what I like most about this story is they start off with one basic principle, and that is friendship. Friendship. See, it's not operating from lust or limerence or, entertaining one another or romance or physical attraction. It started with the base root of friendship. Actually, it started with humor. I think not enough credit is given to how important humor is to bonding with another person, is having similar styles of humor. I think that's really, like, you see me smiling right now. Like, when I think of humor, it makes me laugh. It makes me smile. And when you can have that core area of connection at a friendship level, at a humorous level, it's the building blocks to a healthy relationship. And it's friendship with desire. In other words, your desire for this person on a friendship level exceeds the pain, the past hurt, and the differences every couple is going to experience. In the TV show, their big difference is he's Jewish, she's not, and it'd be better for his life that she be Jewish. And it's interesting because her childhood wounds come up in this conversation, which I talked about earlier when I say our pains and hurts and our differences, and her abandonment issues come up, her inconsistent love patterns have come up. And he holds space for this person. He holds space for Joanne. It's Noah and Joanne, by the way. He holds space for her. And it's a great illustration because there's something about where he's at in his life by the time he met this person, by the time he met her, is that he is secure in his emotional well-being and he is committed to commitment. He is committed to commitment. In fact, when she was struggling emotionally, he says to her, I'm on your side. He's basically saying, you can't sabotage this relationship. I am committed to commitment. Because they started on a foundation of friendship. And sadly, our current dating environment, because of dating apps, is so hyper-focused on entertainment, on romance and physical connection that very few couples actually build the deep roots of trust through genuine friendship. In fact, I pulled out this book, If you haven't ever read it, it's by Dale Carnegie, called How to Win and Influence People. And the only book you'll need to lead you to success, but it's How to Win Friends. And why I think it's important to revisit this book is because what I witness with most people in the dating marketplace today is they're not actually building a core friendship. It is so rooted on lust and in limerence and physical attraction and chemistry that it's missing the deep building blocks that we see in the TV show, is that they actually enjoy talking with one another. Did you hear what I said? Talking with one another. How many times have you been in dating environments where you can feel that the person is talking at you? And all they are waiting to do is to talk from their own egoic way. I'm here to invite everyone to start talking from the heart when you're communicating with someone, but more importantly, listening with the heart. When you can come from a place of listening from your heart instead of trying to respond, instead of trying to, impress another person. We're so hyper focused on that we miss out from being from our heart. By the way, it's 11:11 right now. So speaking of friendship, do you remember the TV or the movie When Harry Met Sally? If you remember that movie, I'm just going to go. And by the way, I have an acronym I'm going to share with you for a second that I believe is so critically important. This is the number one secret. Well, the real secret is that core friendship. I mean, do you really feel like this person's a friend? And you want to know what friendship feels like? Friendship feels like you can say most anything to this person. You can speak from your heart to this person, knowing that you're not going to be judged, knowing you're not going to be rejected. You can actually open your heart. Many of you watch my videos, and I always jokingly put duct tape on my mouth because many of you are afraid to speak from your heart because you fear that you're going to be abandoned. You fear that that person's going to reject you. And yet that's how we're going to connect with one another. We're going to bond with one another if we can speak from our heart. That's what's I think most couples are thirsty for is, do you've got my back? Are you treating me like that person who's a friend? And the reason why I bring up Harry Met Sally is they built a deep friendship before they were physically intimate and before he announces he's in love with her. They built this deep friendship. And so coming back to what I said earlier to the TV show, Nobody Wants This, they build a friendship. He is committed to commitment. Folks, without a commitment to commitment, it's going to be difficult to build the deep roots of trust. We hyper focus on entertainment, romance, and physical connection. And yeah, like a broken clock, that works out, twice a day. But when your foundation is weak, it's going to be difficult to build, like I said earlier, those deep roots of trust. So I heard this following acronym from my friend Mary Beth Schroeder. And it's from the word love, And so I want you to write this down. By the way, folks, is this resonating with you? Is this sinking in with you? Wait, is it resonating with you? Is it sinking in with you? I hope it does. And if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. So this acronym I'm about to share with you is love. And the L stands for lifestyle. Folks, at midlife, if our lifestyles can't blend with one another, it puts way too much pressure on love. Like, in other words, that lust, that limerence, that attraction, that attachment to hold the relationship together. If your lifestyles are not compatible, genuinely compatible with one another. Many of you know I was in a significant relationship some years ago, and the reality was, while we could live well together, ultimately our lifestyle goals were rather different for us. And while it temporarily worked, at the end of the day, our lifestyle differences is what ended the relationship, amongst other things as well. So are your lifestyles able to blend with one another at a healthy rate, or at a commensurate rate? That's the first thing. That's the L. The O is for open heart. I started this by saying speaking from the heart, but also listening from the heart, asking really deeper emotional questions about each other is how you're going to build the deep roots of trust. When you can actually operate from an open heart, that's the building blocks to a healthy, happy relationship. The V stands for values. Values. Folks, in today's world with so many different values, whether it comes from the way you eat or the way your value around charity, your value on judgment, your value on politics, your value on religion, whatever, and those are all got values within them. They play a part in our relationship success. And if we aren't matched on our core values and our core needs, it's going to be rather difficult, because here's the thing. When you have friction in your values, when you have differences in your values, it requires even more heavy lifting in the sense of conflict resolution skills, your ability to repair when there's differences. It's the closer two people align, the more successful they are. In fact, if you haven't read the book Two Dates by Neil Warren Clark, I just want to pull this up. Chapter 5, the 25 most popular must-haves. I invite you to read this book, Two Dates by Neil Clark Warren. He started the company eHarmony, by the way. But understanding these important factors for relationship success puts you on the fast track of love and bonding with someone when we understand the mechanics of human nature, but more importantly, the mechanics for a healthy, happy relationship. And the E stands for expectations for the future. You know, I shared earlier in the show, Nobody Wants This. He is committed to commitment, or at least I believe he is. And she's getting there. If you are not committed to commitment, if you're not committed to a future with someone, if it's like, let's just take it slow, let's just see where it goes, you're setting your foundation for your relationship on a weak foundation if commitment and trust aren't your highest values. In fact, in other words, committed to trust should be the first level of commitment, along with monogamy, exclusivity, teamwork, and being all in with someone. And so I just plant these seeds to suggest that we let go of the egoic way of dating. We let go of the lust and the limerence and the entertainment and romance and physical connection and start connecting at a heart-centered level, start connecting at a friendship level. Does this person feel like a friend? And when we think of the TV show Friends, you know, one of the core things about them is they all had radical differences. And even Monica and Chandler, it's because they had a core friendship that allowed their physical relationship to flourish to something much deeper because they already enjoyed each other's company. And that's the most important piece that carries a relationship beyond the surface level. Again, is this sinking in? Is this resonating? Please let me know if it is. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, hey, there's links below. Schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. Check out my group called Midlife Love Mastery. Get all the books I recommend listed below. Follow me on social media and get my dating vows, because the dating vows is one of the first steps to commitment and really the building blocks to love and bonding with someone. All right, I'm going to wrap up this video as I always do. First off, give myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Barrick of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone, pet, a teddy bear, a pillow, and give it or them a hug of love, because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we could all use more love in our lives. Thanks a bunch. Bye now.